presentation?
We're live.
Yes. Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Beyond Power. Welcome to Beyond Power CBC Reception, Government in Action. I am Terry King, National Chair for the
Hi.
Government Relations Committee and the Atlanta Legislative Chair. I am
Hi,
so
good morning,
excited to be here with you this Saturday. We are headed down to the Sunshine State today, and I am thrilled to welcome our Tampa area into the spotlight. Tampa has been doing incredible work, and it is my pleasure to introduce the woman leading the charge, Miss Katina McClinton, our Tampa area leader and founder of Fresh Start Development. Katina, thank you so much for hosting us today, and take it away.
Thank you, Terry. It's been an honor to lead the charge here in Tampa. I'm so excited for our speaker series beyond the CBC reception. And I would like to move on to the opening prayer from Carla Hills. Thank you.
Yes, good morning, everyone. So I just ask for us to center ourselves and a moment of silence as we just welcome everyone in and we just pray for clarity. We pray for our elected officials. The word does teach us to pray for our elected officials. And we just ask for a focus and implementation and effective execution as we go about the business of the National Association of Black Women in Construction. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that, Carla. That was a beautiful prayer. And now I just want to take a moment to acknowledge our area leaders, our first time attendees, our elected officials, and our amazing founder, Miss Ann McNeil. Thank you all for being here today and building with us. We look forward to a successful session today. And
Now,
next we have Kalina Shirley, our Vice President.
Good morning. This morning I'll be reading with you our Nabwic Vision and Mission. The Nabwic Vision. The vision of the National Association of Black Women in Construction, Nabwic, is to build lasting strategic partnerships with first-rate organizations and individuals that will provide groundbreaking and innovative solutions for Black women in construction and their respective communities. We are the voice of Black women in construction.
Wonderful. Now,
Nab, the Nab, the Nabwic mission. Nabwic was founded to increase the national awareness of Black women in the construction industry. Our charge is to advocate for Black women-owned construction businesses for contract opportunities, create strategic environments that support educational, entrepreneurial, professional, and social network connections, train the next generation of Black women and minorities in the construction industry. Thank you.
thank you, Kalina. I was overeager, so sorry about that. And now I am going to give us a brief overview of our Government Relations Subcommittee. Our subcommittee is focused on making sure Nabwic has a seat at the table when it comes to public policy that impacts Black women in construction. We are actively building relationships with elected officials, tracking legislation, and creating opportunities for our members to engage in the political process. And that brings me to our legislative platform, the foundation of everything we do. We are anchored in four key pillars. It starts with infrastructure and investment. That naturally leads us to policy and our procurement reform. And then from there, we focus on workforce and business development, driving initiatives for training, career development, and economic growth so that when our doors are open, we are ready to walk through them. And all of that comes together under our commitment to supporting Black businesses, promoting policies and initiatives that empower and grow Black owned construction and construction related businesses, giving us more access, more contracts, more growth, and more legacy. We are so excited to have you here today, and every chapter across the country is committed to helping us, to helping you all and helping ourselves build with power. Thank you. And now I'm going to hand the floor back to Katina to introduce our wonderful speakers today.
Katina, you are on mute.
Good morning, everyone. just want to welcome you and thank you for joining our guest, Mayor Jerry Dimmons from Orange County. We have his Jerry Dimmons' committed to public service was shaped early in life, driven by a desire to protect others after his brother struggled with addiction. That experience instilled him in a deep sense of purpose to strengthen communities and confront the challenges that threaten them. Raised in West Orlando, Dimmons pursued higher education before setting his sights on a career as a bank examiner. Encouraged by the FBI recruiter to gain law enforcement experience, he joined the Orlando Police Department with intention of serving only a few years. Instead, he discovered a calling, building relationships, serving residents, and working alongside the community to improve public safety. Dimmons rose through the ranks to become Orlando's chief of police, where he emphasized collaboration between law enforcement and the community. His leadership helped drive measurable results. Homicides declined by nearly 30%, aggravated assaults dropped by 10%, and sex offenses decreased by almost 6%. In the wake of the September 11th attacks, which directly impacted Orlando through its international import, Dimmons played a key role in uniting the community during a time of uncertainty. He prioritized youth engagement and community-oriented policing, strengthening trust and long-term partnerships. Elected as Orange County Sheriff, Dimmons continued to advocate and modernized the agency. He was among the first to implement body-worn cameras, upgraded parole vehicles with GPS, advanced communication systems, and reassigned personnel to increase frontline visibility. These efforts contributed to 30% reduction in overall crime and a 34% drop in violent crime during his tenure. Known for his fiscal responsibility, he constantly balanced budgets and returned more than $10 million to taxpayers. Following the Pulse nightclub tragedy, Dimmons helped guide the community through grief, remembrance, and healing. Today, as Orange County Mayor, Dimmons is focused on improving affordability, quality of life for Central Florida families. His administration has committed $160 million over 10 years to expand affordable and workforce housing, invested in transportation infrastructure to reduce congestion and enhance safety, and strengthen support for first responders. Through each role, Dimmons has remained focused on delivering practical solutions, building a stronger and more unified community. Wow, Mr. Dimmons, that's an amazing career. I would just want to thank you for being here and welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, and just let me say thank you all to Nabwic for inviting me here today. I'm very familiar with your organization, and I certainly support the work that you do. By way of introduction to those who may not know me, let me tell you more about the role that I today. I am elected countywide in Florida as the Orange County Mayor, which is the Metro Orlando area. I'm one of only 3 countywide elected mayors in the state of Florida. Miami-Dade has one, Orlando, and then Jacksonville. In my role today, I'm responsible as the CEO for Orange County government, and I represent those persons who live in the unincorporated areas of our county outside any municipal city limits, but I also represent those who live within the city limits. The total population in my county is approximately 1.6 million today. About 1 million of those individuals do not live in any city. Therefore, when we look at the 13 municipalities within my county, Orlando's the largest with about 330 to 340,000 people. Because of that, and because of the fact that the majority of our people live outside the cities, about 40 years ago, our county created a charter county form of government with a strong countywide elected mayor as a CEO. I'm responsible for a $9.7 billion budget and nearly 8,000 employees. And Therefore, we work very closely with those who we do business with. I am a member of the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority, Orlando International Airport Board of Directors. In addition, I serve on the Expressway Board of Directors because of my role, again, as the Strong County Mayor. I also serve on our regional transportation authority called Links in our area, amongst other things. And as a result of that, what I will tell you is that I'm a proponent of improving access to business opportunities for minority firms, especially our minority women firms. In the state of Florida, we have approximately 3 million small businesses in our state. Of that group of small business owners, it is estimated that about a third of them, a little over 1 million of the 3 million, are women-owned businesses. But when we look at construction, there's about 10% women in construction in the state of Florida, and only about 1% of those in the state of Florida are Black-owned women in construction businesses. I believe that we can certainly do better to uplift all of the businesses that we have. And unfortunately, because of some federal statutes, because of some state regulatory authority, where we are seeing now preemptions of local government authority. In the state of Florida, our governor recently signed legislation to prohibit local governments from engaging in what they call diversity, equity, and inclusion programs by using taxpayer related dollars. They really didn't even define what that meant in the statute that was signed. But what we're seeing also by executive order, as you know, the President of the United States, by the stroke of a pen, did away with MWBE programs, which has affected us right down to the local level, affected every local community in the nation. And so I'm running for governor now to be the 47th governor in the state of Florida. I have a primary election in August, and then I will have a general election in November. One of the top issues that we see within the state are affordability related issues, and we see a number of our residents for new opportunities. They want a level playing field. They want to have access to the American dream. They want to own their businesses. And with the changes now that we've had to make, I don't have to tell you all, but you're well aware that we now have had to transition to what we call small business programs. I believe that there was already unfair competition, if you will, with women in construction, with women-owned businesses in general, but certainly Black-owned businesses. And as a result of that, I believe that we see some additional challenges now going forward to make certain that we have a seat at the table. You all have heard that if you don't have a seat at the table, then you're on the menu. I have the privilege as the countywide elected mayor to have a seat at the table. But I will tell you that I'm concerned about us going forward because we see the devolution now of the three equal branches of government, the legislative, executive, and the judicial branches. And I believe that if we don't have people who are elected to represent our issues, who are familiar with our issues, then the hands of the clock will be turned backwards. And we still haven't caught up with only approximately 1% of our businesses being women in construction in the state of Florida. And that's a rough guesstimate. I believe that it's time. And so if we miss this opportunity during this election cycle to elect a Democrat, we have not elected a Democrat that carries these issues as top of mind in 32 years. The last time we elected a Democrat to governor in Florida was 1994. And so it's high time now. And I believe that with the right person, uh, I'm stepping up to the plate to say, look at the sum total of my 45 years of public service, increasing leadership, my executive experience, my legislative experience. While I'm not a member of the judiciary, I'm much like Commissioner Nair for Tampa. I serve and chair the Public Safety Coordinating Council within our jurisdiction, working with our courts and others to make sure that we have uh, equity, if you will, equality across our criminal justice system. So with that, that's just a brief summation of my experiences and some of the concerns. I'm going to stop now and give you all the opportunity to ask me any questions.
Thank you for that overview of what's going on and how you're moving forward at this point. I would like to ask you, how do you support responsible developers while maintaining community standards, such as organizations as ourselves, as Nabwic, and plus a small business as myself, as Fresh Start Development?
What we do is certainly from the bullet pulpit of our local authority, we absolutely have ordinances that kind of dictate how we move forward, how we do our procurement related issues, and then how we do our developmental processes. Of course, the state of Florida has been working in recent years to preempt local governments' authority as it relates to development because we see a heavy hand, a heavy uh, coordination between developers and the legislature here in Florida. And so I want to make certain that we get back to working closely between the state, the federal government, and our local governments to come up with common sense practices of how we will do business in the state of Florida. I want to make certain that we are utilizing even the Sadowski trust funds. In our state, there's a state housing trust fund that was established 40 years or so ago, in which those funds on every real estate transaction, there's a fee that's collected that is supposed to be used to stimulate the building of workforce and affordable housing in our state. However, while the money goes into the fund, the state is not mandated to use the funds for those specific purposes. And so what our state has done for decades is take the money out of the trust fund and use it for general services delivery by the state of Florida. And so that forced us at the local level to create our own housing trust fund that we can control. But as governor, I want to get us back to using the dollars how it's intended to support the people who need it the most. And so I'm going to lead the charge in that effort to kind of bring about some change by working up and down the ballot, by working with our state legislators. We got to get more of them elected. We got to get more elected at the local level. And in some regards, this isn't a partisan issue. This is a business issue. This is an access issue. This is a human rights issue for us. This is an equality issue for us. And so I don't mind working across the aisle with people who will embrace similar kinds of beliefs that I embrace. But certainly, I believe that in working with organizations like Nabwic, we can be able to do that. I look forward to appointing members, women in construction, and others to some of these economic boards that I just talked about, where major decisions are often made. We want you part of that decision-making body, and the governor in Florida has the opportunity to appoint thousands of individuals to some of these powerful economic boards that set policy about how they will do business with minority firms. And so we want people who care about our issues in office. And I believe when we have people who care about our issues in office, you all demonstrate to me every day that you care about us. And one of the things we want to see is we want to see you all help us, support us in this run for governor, help us to raise the money that we need to, help us to raise the awareness, not just across Florida, but across the country. And if we do that, we're able to level the playing field and we can win. We can win this race during this election cycle and hopefully get Florida back to some sense of balance.
Thank you for that. So how do you think we can get the citizens more involved in the local government? Because some people just think that the Courtesy is the only one that they should be voting for. They don't vote for this primary race.
Well, we've got to organize and mobilize people. We need boots on the ground to get out to help us register people to vote, but also then make sure that those individuals turn out to vote. And we're going to have a broad-based appeal. While I am a Democrat, I'm a lifelong Democrat. The role that I serve in now is a nonpartisan role. I didn't get elected as a Democrat, but I certainly lean forward into our democratic principles, but we've got to appeal to those no party affiliates, and I say even the frustrated Republicans who may be willing to cross over and vote because of what we're seeing. Right. And so we all across America, across Florida, if we can flip Florida, then I think we can flip our nation in the next presidential cycle. We see what's happening, right now, and it's just divisive cultural wars that are going on that really have nothing to do with improving our overall quality of life.
Thank you. So I know you have many, many, many accomplishments, but I just want to know from you, what is the biggest one that you've achieved since you've been mayor?
So I have some legacy projects. One, the establishment of the Housing for All Plan of Action. It's a 10-year plan, and with that plan, uh, we created the Housing Trust Fund that I talked about, where we put in $160 million over 10 years. That will outlive me because we, by county charter, by referendum, have now baked that into our county charter, which is like our county constitution. And so, in perpetuity, our county must have a housing trust fund. Much like the state, it doesn't say that the county has to fund it every year because that's something based upon the availability of budget and funds at the time. But suffice it to say, we have been funding it and we have built thousands of units now for low income families to be able to become self reliant and enjoy part of the American dream. So that's one of my biggest legacies that we will leave behind.
Oh, that's a great legacy. And one more last question from me. If you can change anything about Atlanta today, what would it be?
If I could change anything about, I didn't catch the last part.
Orlando, what would it be?
If I could change anything about Orlando, uh, I would perhaps change. We cannot solve the housing crisis that we're in now without solving the transportation challenges that we have. We do not have a robust multimodal transit system. And I have been trying to pass a penny sales tax here since I've been mayor, almost the entire 8 years. We put it on the ballot once and it failed because of many reasons. But that is something that we've got to lower the cost of living for working class families. They need mass transit. We need to take cars off the road that is more environmentally friendly to us and it's more efficient. We have changed our land use issues to where now we're building diverse housing types in our job centers so people can live closer to where they work, where they don't have to depend on driving an automobile. So we're doing that now. And so I think that's one of the major things that I would love to have changed about Orlando during my tenure. I'm not giving up on that. When I'm governor, I will continue to work on that, not just for Orlando, but across the state of Florida.
Great, thank you. So we're gonna move over to questions and comments. Anybody have questions and comments from the chat for Mr. Demings?
Yes, so there's one question in the chat. This is Malika Anderson from Atlanta. Um, the question is, what's going on with the FIU and the new law passed by Governor DeSantis regarding the First Amendment's rights, nuisance of freedom of speech with public universities?
Well, again, our governor wants to control speech within our state. We lead the nation in the number of book bans in our public education systems. And one of the first things I'm going to do, if it hadn't already happened by then, is fire the current Commissioner of Education and appoint someone who is going to work with us with our system of public education as well as higher education. Even now within the state of Florida, the governor is using the power of the executive office to even appoint the presidents of our higher education institutions that are public institutions like FIU, like Florida State, like FAMU, like even the University of Florida. But this is happening in our state, and I want us to get back to focusing on educating people and not the politics. But you know, if you all probably are familiar with Project 25, and if you read that, they have very deliberate things that they want to do. And one of the things is to take over public education and to sterilize the history of our country and the history of Florida in order to espouse their agenda. And so as the governor of Florida, being the CEO, the governor gets to appoint numerous individuals who are the department heads, the secretaries, and even play in the whole space of our public universities. And so I look forward to the day to be able to appoint a new commissioner of education for Florida and to kind of try to undo some of these unfair legislative things that have come out of the Florida legislature in the recent time. And what is happening there with FIU, we're trying to, again, to censor what can happen on these college campuses, I do believe is likely unconstitutional, but because of the heavy-handedness of them being able to appoint now for decades the members to even the Florida Supreme Court, the appellate courts, right? To
Okay, this kind of spotty, but I think you finished with your answer. Do we have any other questions, Malika?
There's no more questions in the chat, but we had a few members' hands that was up, like Carla.
Carla Hill.
Yeah,
Oh,
Carla Hill.
sure. I was going to type it in the chat, but real quick, just in terms of the stat that over 300,000 Black women have lost positions over their jobs over the past year, what have been your workforce policies in Orlando in response to that trend, whether it's AI or just the loss of positions? And what's your platform moving forward?
Excellent question. Obviously, I have leaned into hiring a diverse workforce. I chair the Career Source of Central Florida Consortium. That is one of the primary sources of job creation and job retention within our community. And so my platform is to diversify our economy with high wage jobs by leaning into innovation. We are pursuing industries in modeling, simulation, and training here within our community, even space exploration, healthcare. We have three hospitals, medical schools in our area now. We have the University of Central Florida College of Medicine, the Florida State University College of Medicine at Orlando, and then we have the Orlando College of Osteopathic Medicine that opened up about 2 years ago. And so when we diversify our economy with those types of jobs, we have to integrate that into our learning systems at earlier ages. And so we are partnering with some creative and innovative public, I'm going to say public charter schools to teach innovation right on the campuses. And one of the things that I've led in our community is the creation of an innovation lab in one of our historically now displaced communities where Black folk were displaced from their homes, but we're going through a renaissance in West Orlando in the Pine Hills area. And we will open up a new innovation lab, a public-private partnership to integrate new strategies of exposing our young people and immersing them in the field of technology early on. And it is a county-owned facility that we will open up within the next few months. So those are the types of things that we should be doing across the state of Florida.
Exciting. Thank you, Mayor Demings.
Thank you so much for that. Any other questions or comments?
Miss Melody Compton, I believe, had raised her hand before. Are you still want to ask a question, Melody?
Yes, good morning. How is everyone? I had a question regarding being the mayor of Orlando, which is heavily, I can't say reliant upon tourists, but what is one of your biggest challenges of being mayor of a city like Orlando?
Growth. One of the biggest challenges I have is managing the tremendous growth. Our population at one point was growing by a net of nearly somewhere between 800 and 1,000 new people moving in every single week into our community. That has slowed a bit now because of, I'm going to say, the kind of immigration enforcement policies and strategies that come across kind of cruel with a growing diverse community. It has slowed down, but also tourism. We're in the central part of the state with a #1 tourist destination in North America, top 5 in the world. It brings a lot of people into our area, and that means our roadways are clogged, a lot of traffic congestion, a lot of issues, environmental related issues with sustainability challenges, and all of that. I've had to, as a mayor, of a major county, a major metropolitan community, I've had to wrestle with those issues every single day and come up with solutions to them. And so we have had plans to address all of those issues. And so that's one of the things I think makes me uniquely qualified to be governor, because I'm just not a figurehead, a talking head. I have solutions that we have offered, strategies that we have embraced, that have delivered on what I say that we will do. And I say to people, hold me accountable. But some of the people running in this race, they've never managed anything. They've never come up with actual solutions. They just do a lot of talking. But I'm not a talker. I get into the details and I work through public-private partnerships to make certain that we are solving the issues most important to working class people in our state, in our communities.
Thank you for that. That was the last question from the audience. And I want to thank you so much, Mayor Demings, for coming on our show for our legislative platform. And any remarks, lasting remarks from you?
Well, let me just conclude by saying thank you all. We look forward to engaging with you. You can find more information out there about my campaign by going to jerrydemingsforgovernor.org, jerrydemingsforgovernor.org, or jerrydemingsforgovernor.com. Or you can just simply Google my name. And if you do that, you're going to see an awful lot out there. I even have a book that I wrote last year called Believe, Faith, Truth, and the Courage to Lead. It's one of the #1 top sellers on Amazon. You can read about me and some of the extraordinary things that we've been able to do. My wife and I, she's traveling with me today, so she's listening. She told me to tell you all hello. So thank you all for indulging me today. We look forward to further engaging with you. And let's go, women. Let's get this thing done.
Thank you so much. And we want to say hello to Ms. Demings as well.
All right. She heard you.
So, you had anything else? I'm sorry.
No, we're good. Muchas gracias. Merci beaucoup to all of you. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you.
Right,
and now we're going to move on to our next speaker, and I want to introduce my co-leader for the Tampa area. She is the founder of Elderstone Construction, a recently GC that I have been working with for the last couple of months, and I enjoy her company, Lavandria Cobb. Welcome.
All right, good afternoon. Give me 1 second so I can go ahead and introduce our next speaker. I want to go ahead and welcome Councilwoman Naya Young from the City of Tampa, District 5 representative. Naya Young was raised in Tampa. She attended Brandon High School and graduated from George S. Middleton High School. She received a Master's of Arts and Sciences degree in Political Science from Howard University, a bachelor's degree in Culture and Media Communication from the University of South Florida, and an associate's degree from Hillsborough Community College. Naya also obtained a non-management certificate from the University of Tampa and is a graduate of the Toba Leader Institute. Prior to her election, Naya has worked in the community and nonprofit sector in a variety of ways, connecting the city's walkable green spaces into what is now Tampa's Green Artery, advocating for diabetes awareness alongside her family to pass the Arthur Green Jr. Act, the WTMP as a programmer for Saturday morning community talks, and WMNF as an on-air personality. She's also worked with the Washington Bureau National Urban League, National Coalition on Civic Participation, and the Ronald W. Walters Leadership and Public Policy Center. She is the previous executive director of the Tampa Heights Junior Civic Association and has worked in communities across Tampa and Hillsborough County on community engagement initiatives for city and county projects. In October of 2025, Naya was elected to Tampa City Council representing District 5, where she serves on the Public Safety Coordinating Council, chairs the Neighborhood and Community Affairs Committee, and serves on the board for the Tampa Bay The Story Program. I want to go ahead and welcome Naya Young, Councilwoman.
Hello, how are you?
Hi,
Good
Naya.
morning. Good morning. Good morning.
So, Councilwoman Young,
Yes.
from a policy standpoint, what changes
Mhm.
or initiatives are currently being explored to increase access to public contracting for small businesses?
So, well, before I answer that question, I wanted to say I don't know if he's still on, but Mayor Demings, thank you for covering, just giving that information about, the preemptions and the policies that are affecting us at a local level, because I think that's really important because sometimes, or, we'll be, out in the community or we'll get questions and then say, well, why can't we do this? And it's like, well, really it's something that, we as a, city council, or local government is not saying that we can't do this. We are being preempted, meaning that we are pretty much being told you cannot do this anymore. So I think that that's really important, that he was able to share that with everyone, and then also just the importance of voting, because then the question is, well, how do we change it? We've got to have people in the positions that that are like-minded and that want to see positive progress. So voting is a huge piece, and there's going to be a lot of really important elections that are coming up. And so if you haven't paid attention before, now is the time to do so, because it is extremely important. And who we have, representing us as a state, is really important, because that helps us as city council to do our job a lot better. So I just wanted to put that out there, that was really important that he shared that information, just so to know. So I'm sorry, if you could you read that question for me one more time?
Sure. From a policy standpoint, what changes or initiatives are currently being explored to increase access to public contracting for small businesses?
So I know that COT, City of Tampa, has the Minority Business Development a neighborhood and community affairs team, and they're actually working on some recommendations and initiatives that they're going to bring to council soon. I think it's waiting to be put on the agenda. And so I think it'll be really important if, anyone that's on this call has the opportunity to tune in to that meeting. Once I have the date, I can share it out with you all to kind of give some feedback of what in your experience, what should be included or how we can make things easier. I think that would be really beneficial. I don't know if everybody knows if you're on this call also, because sometimes people don't necessarily know, because we have 7 city council members and each district is different. And so for District 5, so my district would cover, it's the largest district. I think it is the largest district. It's so I cover Palmetto Beach, Ybor, East Tampa, a little part of West Tampa, myself and Councilman Miranda has a part of West Tampa, downtown, Channel Side, Tampa Heights, Sulphur Springs. So that would be the area in which that I cover in the city of Tampa for District 5.
And can you tell us about a little bit about your journey and what led you to run for councilwoman?
Well, so I have kind of been working in community for as long as I can remember. Before I even really knew that I was doing community work. When I was, my grandmother would have me and my cousins at neighborhood association meetings and all these. And I'm like, Grandma, what are we doing here? But she always had us involved. And so I've kind of just always worked in community. From there, I started working in nonprofit. I was executive director of my family's nonprofit for 7 years. I was there for 8 years, but I was executive director for 7 years. And a lot of the issues that I see right now in this seat were issues that I saw with my families. So, transportation issues, finding, housing, finding, stable jobs, a place for, children to go that is, accessible, that is affordable. So all of these issues I saw kind of at the, micro level, just with my families that I worked with. And what we did was, we offered, free programming. So after school, summer, we worked with different schools throughout Hillsborough County and had different programs in the schools providing different types of like civic engagement, STEM, art, gardening, all these different types of programs. But I kind of always saw some of these issues when I was here. When I was in DC, when I worked at the Public Policy Center, I worked on a grant that was, between the relationship between college students and law enforcement. And so, community policing was something that I've always worked on as well. So I've kind of always just been in this community space. And I was in my nonprofit, and you're always thinking to yourself, okay, well, what is the next step? What's the next thing that I want to do? And someone approached me and said, you should really run for city council. And I was like, why me? And they said, well, you've been working in community for a long time. You know what the issues are. You've had firsthand experience. You've worked with you've been working on the ground for a long time. I think you'd be great at it. And I took some time to think about it, because although, my degree is in politics, I was like, well, would I necessarily see myself in politics? I wasn't sure. So I took some time to think about it, and I said, I have been doing this for a very long time. And I do know, I know a lot of the issues that, people are facing, and that kind of propelled me forward. And I've always wanted to help people. That's kind of just been my, what do you want to do? I want to help people. And this is a way that I get to do that. I've always done that, but this is a way that I continue to do that. But now I have even more resources available to me that I can give to others to help them. So So yeah, so that's kind of my why. I'm community oriented. And I, care about people. I'm a huge supporter of anything that has to do with youth and supporting our youth and opportunities for our youth. Is something that is very big and near and dear to my heart. And so, so yeah, so that's kind of my why.
Awesome. So, what opportunities exist for collaboration between your office and organizations like Nabwic to build workforce pipelines, particularly for women entering constructions and the trades?
Mhm. So I definitely, that's so interesting that you say that because I was just on a call this morning, and with summer approaching, one of something that I'm working on is making sure that our youth are doing something for this summer, whether it be a job or be the internship or they're volunteering. And so I welcome any opportunities for collaboration and partnership. That's something that I've always talked about, is that I'm just one person. And so I can't do everything alone. Nobody can do everything alone. We have to work together and collaborate. And so I think opportunities for, development or mentorship, for our youth that are, in high school, coming out of high school, going into college and not necessarily sure, what they want to do or haven't even thought about construction as a potential career. Sometimes you don't even know that this is even available. Oh, that this is something that I could actually do. Oh, I actually might like this. I can make a career out of this. I think that's really important. Just exposing that this is something that this is available, and there are people here that can actually help you, that can mentor you into this space.
Okay. Would your office be open to partnering with Nabwic on a doing business with the city of Tampa workshop or initiative for our members and local contractors?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think that would be awesome. I th- and maybe it's because of my nonprofit background, but one of the things we always talked about was the importance of our community partners, because we knew as a nonprofit you can't do everything alone. And so I think that's where my like collaborative spirit comes in. And I'm not an expert at everything. And so it's important to surround yourself with people who have the expertise in different, in different realms. And so I think that would be awesome. And just to again, exposing people to, one, to the organization, which I think is amazing, but also to, the different opportunities that are available in, in construction. So
And
just,
from your
yes, I would be 100%. Just let me know. Let's find a date and let's do it.
And from your perspective, what is one actionable step organizations like Nabwic can take immediately to support your policy goals and expand opportunities in District 5?
I'll say one, this is important, just calls like this in general, because getting information out and in, all modes, I think is important. I would also say, with the, the recommendations that are going to come from the Minority Business Development, Neighborhood and Community Affairs team, I think that would be really important for you all to weigh in on that, on, what what has been your experience working with the city, if you have experience, and how that, what changes you would like to see, how we can make that easier. I think that is also helpful, because again, you all have the experience and the expertise in that field. And so you can speak to that, what your experience has been like, and help to guide us. And on the city side, I'm always, meeting with our staff, with staff, and having my one-on-ones, one, to understand the processes so that I can say, well, this is what I'm hearing out in the community, and this doesn't work, or this does work, or you all should try this. And also I think, us just being, willing and understanding and wanting to, taking in that constructive criticism and saying, okay, this is what we can do better to make it easier for our, our smaller minority businesses to do business with the city. It's how do you make it easier to do business with the city? Make it easier to do business with the city. Provide the education, provide the resources. Don't just turn someone away because they don't have, these credentials, or they don't have, this information. How do we help those that want to have those credentials, or that need, that want to be able to do business? Let's help them so that we can help to get all their ducks in a row so that they can do business with us.
At the present time, we're going to go ahead and open up the floor for any questions for Councilwoman Young. Are there any questions in the chat, Malika?
This is Ann McGill. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good evening. Thank you so very much. And of course, I just used executive privilege not to put my comment in the chat, but to come off mute. I would like to encourage everyone to please consider membership in this phenomenal organization as we can see the benefit and value that we bring to those of you that's listening on YouTube and those of you who are here live. You just heard the mayor, and now you hear the councilwoman Nayang talking about their passion to help support us and our passion to help support them. But we really want to help each of you. If you are not a member and you are sitting here listening to this, Rodney is going to take you into a breakout. Just raise your hand. We're going to go back to the scheduled program. Now, and I just thank you. I don't think we realize how young she is. And I think right now you're like third generation politicians, because I'm going back to the bio from Ursula now, right? Ursula who introduced us to you initially. And want to thank Lavondria and also Katina for helping to make this possible. But I did want to just jump in here for one moment. They're gonna give me a whiplash later on. It's okay. Yes.
No worries.
If you're interested in membership, please raise your virtual hand. Thank you so very much. And I'll go back to the questions in the chat. Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Young.
Thank you. And yeah, Miss, and you made a good point. I am actually, because this is, they say, sometimes you don't, talk about yourself enough. I'm not someone that talks about myself a lot, but there are some things, someone's like, no, you need to talk about that. So I'm the youngest Black woman ever to be elected to Tampa City Council. So that is a big accomplishment for me. And I just, I think when you're so just kind of like in the work and doing the things, it's like, okay, well, let's move, to the next thing. And my legislative aide, Darlene, she said, oh no, she said, that is something that you have to, that you have to tell and be and let people know and be proud of it. So I am very proud of that.
Thank you. We'll go back to Malika. Thank you. Also, Lavondria. Thank you.
There is no questions in the chat at this time for Councilwoman Naya.
Thank you.
Malika, I see one hand raised from Sonia Roberts.
I think she's interested in membership, and we were waiting for
got it. Thank you.
Over. Rodney, please, you can help us out here. Thank you. And if we could ask everybody to please put their contact information in the chat. I was waiting for Lavondria, Katina, somebody to say that, because we do want to follow up with each person who's here, because I don't think you just stumbled by us. And for the mere fact that you're here listening to us, I think it's very important. And I'm saying that because many of you that may not live in the Tampa area can do business in Tampa. And Councilwoman Young has already expressed her commitment to this organization by having at least one appointment with us. And that's what generated this meeting. So we really do want to encourage all of you, race, creed, color, does not matter, to consider doing business with the city.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And I also, I will, in my, meetings or briefings, with the different departments, I ask them questions. I say, how did you all advertise this? How did we get this information out? How many, small businesses are on this contract, especially with, when it's it's a large project. So while, as Mayor Demings was saying earlier, we are preempted from, doing certain things. That doesn't stop me from asking the question. I still ask, and they know that I'm going to ask the question. How many small businesses are on this? How many, local businesses? How many women-owned businesses? I always ask, because I think it's important that, even though we're not supposed to, it doesn't mean that, we can't say, okay, this is what we are going to do. We are going to make sure that we're giving opportunities to the business, even though the governor or whoever says that we can't. We're internally we're gonna do that. And so I always ask, and just, try to advocate and say, listen, let's give our small and local, businesses some opportunities with these large contracts.
We do have a hand raised. Flora Smith, a question.
Hi, it's Floria. I'm in Los Angeles. I was just wanting to know if it'd be possible, because I put it in the chat that I'm gonna be in the Orlando in May, and I would love to meet with Naya if I could have her contact information, if that's okay.
Oh, sure. I will give you, so I have my email. I'll put it in the chat too, but it's naya.young at tampagov.net. And then our office number is 813-274-8189. So I know you'll be in Orlando, but if you're coming on over to Tampa, I'd love to meet with you, or at least, if we can do a virtual call, that's cool too.
Let me repeat that back to you. Naya.young at tampagov.net.
Yes, and I put it in the chat as well.
274-8189. Okay, all right. Yeah, because I love the fact that you concerned about the young people, which is what
Oh yes. Oh yes.
educating.
That is a huge, huge passion of mine. And part of it comes from, me and all of the, people that poured into me and opportunities that I was able to have. And I want to be able to provide that as well. And as cliche as it sounds, our youth literally are our future. And so if we're not pouring into them, if we're not giving them opportunities, if we're not bringing them into the fold and involving them, then what's going to happen? And so it's really important for me that, that we continue to bring in our youth and have opportunities. Like for this summer, I'm going to have 2 interns in our office. So we'll have a high school student and a college student, which I'm really excited for. I'm really happy to be able to give them, that experience of, working in, city council office. So, oh yes, anything with youth, I'm 100% behind.
Okay, I would definitely love to talk, because I'm going to be there for you familiar with the first responders event that's taking place in Orlando in May
No.
23rd? Yeah, it's the celebrity event, but and that's the whole thing. We've got to let the young people know now, especially at a young age, what they can do, because nobody knocks on the door and tells us what's there.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I thank you all so much. This was very nice.
Okay, so
Woman Young for
go ahead.
speaking with us today. Thank you so much for speaking with us today, and we'll be in touch with you separately as well. I want to go ahead and turn the meeting back over to our wonderful founder, Ann McNeil, for closing remarks.
Okay, Lavondria, thank you so very much. I'm burning everybody's chat up, and I would just like to encourage everybody, please check your chat, because I have been communicating with all of you in the chat. Councilwoman, yeah, you have done a phenomenal job in helping us understand how your doors are open. I will encourage our members, though, that every meeting that we have with the councilwoman or any politician, we always go with another member if that meeting is in regards to this organization. And so I want to thank Floria for her question, because that's something that she's doing as an aside. But I just want to remind everybody, we are a nonprofit organization. And we do have a 501c3. So everything you've heard here today is based upon individual members who will be taking certain actions individually, because we are a nonprofit organization, and just want to make sure that that's clear. And we do have an open door opportunity for everybody, white, green, yellow, male, female, whoever it is. We are open membership for everyone. We are the voice. I want to just continue to say that, of this industry, not just for Black women in construction industry, but as a pipeline politically. And what you have experienced here today is just one tip of the iceberg of our Beyond the CBC, and that's the Congressional Black Caucus series of speakers and presenters who are politicians, either city, county, school board, state, or congressional people, mayors, and all of these individuals. We're inviting them here once a month by city and by area to have an opportunity to take what I call contacts to contracts. We are a member-driven organization. If you are interested in membership, again, please raise your virtual hand or just put the word membership in the chat. And before I wrap up, I'm going to ask every one of you one more time, please put your contact information in the chat before we wrap up. We have the QR code here that's on the screen. You can scan it and you can get more information about us, but we really want to encourage you all. Join us also for the Congressional Black Caucus event that's going to be held. We do a reception every year in Washington, D.C. as a part of the caucus. So Councilwoman Young, we're going to ask you, please consider being our special guest in Washington, D.C. at the Congressional Caucus. I know this may be your first year or in that seat you're in now, but we really would like to encourage you to join us in Washington, D.C. as a part of our Congressional Black Caucus reception. And with that, Lavondra, you want me to share this, the next Beyond the Speaker Series? It's going to be April 22nd, 2026, and it is virtual. And we would encourage you to also scan the QR code and to register. And at that, I'll turn it back over to you, Lavondra or Katina. Thank you, everyone.
I want to thank everybody for joining. Like Ms. Ann said, if you're interested in membership, please raise your hand or put in the chat membership. We can move you over to the breakout room to have more discussion about it and get you signed in or signed up. Sonia Roberts has raised her hand. Please move her over to the breakout room with Rodney. Thank you so much. And we do have our next DDL, which Ms. Ann has already mentioned, and then our next Building Power Beyond the CBC will be next month with Dallas, Texas. They will be bringing their representatives from that area. Please join. And I want to say thank you and have a good day.
Before you go, there is Cleveland, Susan. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Type membership. So can someone move Cleveland over to the membership room?
Someone could move me over. I'll assist Ronnie.
And for those listening on YouTube, if you're interested in membership in the future, you still can go to nabwic.org, nabwic.org, and that is the National Association for Black Women in Construction. And we didn't get to talk about it today, but we are hosting a $1 billion luncheon in housing on next Wednesday. And so we will be sharing that information also as a part of this organization. Again, cannot say enough to Councilwoman Young for coming and joining us today, but also for each and every one of you that came and took your time to be here with us live today. We really want to thank you. And for those members who helped to make this day possible, thank you also. Please remember to comment and share this YouTube. We are streaming live on YouTube on Ann McNeil YouTube, and we are, tagging each of you also that's here, but we really want to encourage you, please, please, please consider comment, liking, and sharing this YouTube so that we can continue to bring you additional individuals to bring you more information about how to increase your bottom line. All right, thank you. That's it for me, Katina. You can wrap up. Thanks.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for letting us come in your homes and enjoying our show. Have a good day.